Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to Strange Talk with Doc. I am your host, Doc. Let's talk about something before we actually get to the podcast itself. I just want to bring up that decisions lead to consequences, people. Decisions lead to consequences. If you do something, expect a consequence for your action. It could be a great consequence or it could be a dire consequence. We'll get into that because people have made some choices during this week that I thought will lead to some consequences, and we'll get into it. I don't like to beat you over the head with any point, but I like to put a bug in your ear each and every time because it's a waste of time if I don't talk about something. So remember, your decisions lead to consequences. Good decisions lead to sometimes good outcomes, bad decisions lead to bad outcomes. Do they sometimes go opposite of what they're meant to be? Sure. There's no perfect. There's no 100. If you do everything right will happen for you. That's not the way the world works. If you do everything wrong, we've watched plenty of bad people in this lifetime succeed, have great lives, live long, healthy, productive lives, and they did people dirt all their days. It's just the way it flows. So don't get caught up. Your responsibility is to make right decisions and hope for the very, very best. Well, Ray Fosse, he was a former Major League catcher, two-time world champion, two-time Golden Glover. He died of cancer uh, at the age of 74. He's well known mostly for being that guy who got ran over at home plate by Pete Rose. It's pretty famous incident if you're a Major League Baseball player. And former U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell has died of complications from COVID-19. He was 84 years old. There are a lot of different viewpoints on Colin Powell, how he should be remembered. Should he be remembered as a good guy? Should he be remembered as a bad guy? That is not on me to tell you how to think of Colin Powell. He was the very first black U.S. Secretary of State. He was a four-star general. He's a New Yorker. He came from nothing and made something out of his life. He was a lifelong Republican. I mean, so it's up to you if you say rest in peace. I'm just passing on the news that he has passed away. It's my responsibility. I bring up everybody else. Why would I not bring him up? COVID-19 cases up to 46 million people. 46 million cases and 749,000 people have died. This is America's numbers only. 410 million people have now been vaccinated, and we still have to make that number better. Worldwide, there are 242 million cases, and 5 million people have died from this dreaded COVID-19. I can't wait for the world to get back. I know I beat that into a hole in the ground, but it's the God's honest truth. I just cannot wait till we return to normality because we are dealing with a supply chain crisis. I don't know what's going on. I've been harping on this for the last couple of weeks. Why aren't people going back to work? Why are people not returning to their jobs? I have no clue of what's going on. I don't know how they're subsidizing themselves. I don't know how they're eating. I don't know how they're paying their bills. But all I know is that I've gone to the stores and it looks like sometime in 2020, some of the markets have reverted back to 2020, late 2020 style when nothing was really open. So you have to actually go in the store and grab as much stuff as you can that you know that you can always use, like toilet paper, cleaning supplies, towels, things of that nature. And it's pretty sad because we have the supplies, but nobody's moving them. The government hasn't made a decision to actually get the National Guard out there so that they can help with these docks. We have supplies sitting on the docks that are moving nowhere. They're not getting close to stores. I'm sure where you are, you have noticed that there's not as many trucks on the road, and that's on purpose. Why? How people are getting the word to each other to have a slowdown, a shutdown, or whatever you want to call it, some kind of protest, but it's happening, and it's a shame. So we had 17 Christian missionaries from the United States kidnapped by some gang in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And they asked them for $1 million a head. Now, these people were over there, and some of these people in this group included children, and they were leaving an orphanage that they supposedly were trying to build. Now, I don't know what's taking the United States of America so long to send in some special forces unit. We know who the gang leader is. We know where they're located. Why haven't we said we're not negotiating? You stole our people and we're going to crush you. This is a gang. This is not a paramilitary group. This is not a nation's army that took these people. This is a street gang. We can go in there, crack some heads because consequences and decisions lead to dire straight consequences in this situation. This is not a negotiable thing because if that's the case, we're going to start being kidnapped worldwide. Our government is going to ignore us, and it's going to be left to the whims of the kidnappers if we ever make it home safely. And we can't have this. Joe Biden and his administration has to send some kind of uh, they have to send a message, a clear, loud, and concise message to Haiti and any other banana republic who wants to kidnap, harm, hurt, or injure American citizens abroad that this will not be stood for. So we had a complete savage in Pennsylvania, Fiston Nog, 35-year-old male. I'm not going to call this guy a man, he's a male. He is now under arrest, but he raped a woman on the SEPTA train while other passengers on this train did nothing but watch and hold up their phones. We have a nation of cowards. We have a nation of a people who are not willing to even take an ass kicking or deliver an ass kicking to help a human being. You know, the greatest thing that you could do is lay down your life for your fellow man. I don't know if you believe in paradise. I don't know what you pray to or who you pray to, and that's no concern of mine. But to be able to sit there as a man or be able to sit there as a woman later on, look in the mirror and say, I did nothing. I went to social media. I didn't even call 911 to help a fellow human being. This is disgusting. This is beyond my realm of thought. I would have been hurt to save that woman. This is just me. I would have had, I mean, how much could he do to you while he's in the act of rape? His penis is out. He is forcing it in a woman. His focus is there. He can't be the world's greatest fighter where he can fight you and rape somebody at the same time. So these people of Pennsylvania who stood by and watched this happen, shame on you. And when you just tape a crime, you are also now a criminal. You taped a sexual assault, and it makes no sense. And Fiston, Nog, you get what you deserve. Your decision should lead to dire consequences. And being the animal that you are, we should be forced this man to spend the rest of his natural life locked behind bars, where he now has to fight for his virtue, if he has any. So I watched Big Daddy Kane versus KRS1, KRS1's versus battle. And there was no winners, there was no losers. There was one major winner, and the major winner is anybody who viewed this, anybody who got to listen to this. These are two masters. I couldn't take the smile off my face. Big Daddy Kane came out there and he laid down some stuff that I had never heard from him. KRS1 said some things he never said. They brought some old timers on the stage. They brought some dancers on the stage, man. I was seeing a Vegas show, a resident Vegas show being broadcast live from the Barclays Center, and maybe nobody even caught on. And I hope that Versus one day can build itself up to the point where it's a touring show, that these legends are allowed to make money, show their talents to the world. Because the Big Daddy Kanes and KRS ones of the world should not be ignored. No, they should be forgotten because they have led so much to us. They have given so much to us. And if you love music the way I love music, it was a beautiful thing to witness. So I tip my hat to both of them. Brooklyn was in the house and the South Bronx was in the house and they was throwing down. And everybody looked like they had a ball because I definitely did. So American Horror Story double feature, we on the alien portion. And it's a very bizarre show because it seems like the humans have no wins in the situation. They introduced a new character last week, like an emissary who is trying to get us to agree to do some stuff. And now they're putting it into history. They rewriting certain portions of history. Marilyn Monroe was killed by aliens. John F. Kennedy was assassinated due to the fact that he was going to out the aliens being on the planet. Area 51 has now been brought up. We have the aliens all sitting there with their babies, and I guess this is where we're going to lead to the nuclear testing site. But in modern times, they are still impregnating us, so we didn't get rid of them. Even though we flash back to a time where we could have caused great damage, when we flash to the future, it shows that we also are still dealing with them because in 2020 and 2021, they are impregnating us. And there was a promise in the review or preview of the show coming up this week that to finally have a perfect specimen being born in 2021. American Crime Story, the impeachment with Monica Lewinsky, her breakdown, the 12-hour interrogation. That was a great episode. I really, really appreciated that episode. And Saturday Night Live, Kim Kardashian, for all you say about her, and I probably have said some of the same things, I thought she did a fantastic job. It was good writing. It wasn't a bad show at all. I thought that everything flowed well. The jokes were done well. So I tip my hat to her. Bob Hearts Abishola is a good show. It's back, like I said before, in America. They're building stuff up without the sun, and they're trying to make this work with just Bob, his family, Abishola, and her family. We'll see where it goes. Watch The Dark Side of the Ring, The Many Faces of Luna Vachard. And it really kind of made me sad. I remember Luna Vachard. I mean, do I remember her as like a great wrestler? No, but do I remember her as like a great character? Sure, she was. And it was sad to find out all the mental illnesses that she suffered from, the problems that she had. And to come to find out that I had watched her son without knowing that I was watching her son on Hell's Kitchen 2 seasons. Van something is his name. He was on actually 2 seasons of Hell's Kitchen, and I had no clue that he's a member of the Fiston family. You know what? I tip my hat to him for not riding the coattails of his mother while he was on that show to his benefit or to be used against him. It depends on how Gordon Ramsay would have looked at that. Law and Order, I would really like Law and Order to get away from the backstory portion of the show and just stick to the Law and Order SVU portion to the show. But it was a very good show and it fit right into, once again, organized crime, Law and Order Organized Crime, which needs to be able to stand alone next year. If that show is going to succeed, it cannot be like a piggyback to SVU. And that show has been very damn good this year. I tip my hat to them bringing this back, writing good storylines, and I can't wait to wrap up these Armenians because each week they get worse and worse. You can understand the drugs, but when you get into the trafficking of girls, it's a whole nother story, and it's not a great thing. The Good Doctor's been focusing on wedding stuff. I want them to get back to more medical stuff. That would be cool if they just got back to the medical portion of The Good Doctor because that's fantastic enough. I've been watching a lot of First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Molly. And Stephen A. Smith is a horrible host to a horrible show. He's getting called out more and more by the Keyshawn Johnsons and the Tim Tebows of the world for not really having proper information as it goes to the NFL. He thinks he's some kind of NBA expert, which he is not. Now, this just in, the new Max Kellerman show is a totally different ball game. They deal with every aspect of every sport. They talk about college, they talk about WNBA, they talk about tennis, they even give you fantasy updates and betting odds. I mean, I think Max Kellerman has a winner there, and I appreciate that. And if Stephen A was to be able to handle any subject matter with a serious manner and not try to go into the clown aspect of stuff at his age, maybe the show would be better. But he cannot seem to make it through a 2 hour show without thinking he's cute. And at 54 years old, there's not a lot of people who are adorable and cute still at 54. It's just not a great look for a grown man. So LSU fired Ed Orgeron. Orgeron. And you know what? How the mighty have fallen. 2 years ago, this man was a national champion of the LSU Tigers. Now he's already being paid and told to go away and don't come back. You will not be coaching the 2022 season. LSU is not going to have any problem hiring a new head coach. Maybe they can get their recruit team back together because LSU is normally a powerhouse, but at this rate, Ed Orgeron has brought them down. He had me fooled, and you know what? It's time to move on. That's the decision they made. US UFC was on ESPN Plus this week, and Aspen Ladd coach caught a lot of flack. Aspen Ladd, by the way, fought Norma Dumont. She caught a lot of flack, or he caught a lot of flack for his screaming and hollering at Aspen Ladd. I looked at this fight. I already knew what to look for as far as the coach. When I listened carefully to the coach, I could not find where the coach was actually wrong. The coach was telling her, it's 3 rounds. You're throwing one punch at a time. You're not really fighting. You got the gas tank to do it. Why don't the fuck do you go out there and do what you're paid to do, what you trained to do, what we know you can do? And in that manner, where's he wrong? We are so fucking soft. You can't even tell a professional athlete to go out there and give it their all. So I don't come down on this coach. And I don't know what Aspen's going through. I don't know where her mind state was, but she didn't seem to be 100% focused or invested in the fight at hand. And you can't win a fight. I don't give a damn if you're on a street corner, in a bar, in a club. You're not going to win the fight unless you invested in the fight. You must be in the moment of the fight. Everything else going on in your life has to cease. See, these are decisions that have consequences. You must 100% commit to your punches, to your kicks, to your defense in order to be successful when you are in a physical competition, because you can be hurt. You can be hurt for life. When two grown-ups clash, the chances that somebody's brain gets rattled, and I mean not just for today with a concussion, but I mean their brain gets rattled for the entire rest of their life, is very strong. Now, this weekend, we have another ESPN card. I think we're in a mix of 9 or 10 straight weekends of UFC cards. And this weekend, we're going to have Paul Costa versus Martin Vettori, and Alex Caceres, who is better known as Bruce Leroy, is going to be fighting Wu Chi. This should be an interesting card. I mean, I'm going to watch because I'm a huge UFC fan, and there's no early games from London this week. So I have time Sunday morning to actually watch the fights leading into the NFL. So if you want to see the rest of the card, just look up Paul Costa versus Marvin Vettori, ESPN, and ESPN Plus is where this will be aired. I would like to say a congratulations to Candace Parker and the Chicago Sky for winning the very first WNBA championship in their franchise history. Congratulations to Chicago for having a winner. It's been a while. And besides, Candace Parker is a legendary WNBA player. She went home. She won the title in her first season there. So that's a big deal. We're in the midst of Major League Baseball division championships to see who's going to go to the World Series. And right now, the LA Dodgers are losing to Atlanta 2-1. And Red Sox and the Houston Astros are tied as of today, 2-2. I really have no horses in this race. I am a diehard Yankee fan. My heart has already been broken for over 2 weeks now when we lost the wild card game. So I really do not care. I'm just passing off this information. So this last week, I'm going to go through this very briefly because you already know the outcome of all these games. If I have something to add, I will. If I don't, I'll just move on. Thursday, the Bucks beat the Eagles 28-22. Tom Brady was fantastic. The Jaguars won their first game of the season in London against the Dolphins. The Dolphins just did not seem to be right. Uh, Brian Flores has got to go. I don't think he's a very good coach. I don't know what's going on, if the team gave up on him or not. I mean, that defense was all over the place last year, and they did not shine at all this weekend. Joe Burrow, Lamar Chase, and the Bengals beat the Lions 34-11. The Packers beat the Bears 24-14. Aaron Rodgers. The Colts stomped the Texans 31-3. The Chiefs, even though Mahomes made a couple of mistakes here and there, beat the Washington football team 31-13. The Ravens, with that mad monster Lamar Jackson, beat beat the Chargers 34-6, which was a shocker to me. I thought that the Chargers would have a better showing than that. The Rams did what they were supposed to do, and they beat the Giants 38-11. I thought that Daniel Jones should have been pulled from the game when he made that mistake and lowered his head. I didn't think that he was ready to play. I don't think against the Cowboys, I thought he should have got a week off and the backup should have played, especially to sick him to the Rams defense. He's lucky that he's healthy and made it through that game. The Vikings beat the Panthers 34-28 in overtime. The Vikings are snake bit, but it seemed like they're turning a corner, and they might be a little bit of a problem. And the Panthers are not as good as anybody thinks they are. The first 3 weeks, they beat very bad teams. And without Christian McCaffrey, I don't understand how anybody automatically was giving them 10, 11 wins. Sam Donald's not that dude yet, people. The Cardinals easily beat the Browns 37-14. Baker Mayfield gave you everything he had, but Odell has got to catch every pass that's thrown to him. I mean, they've lost Hunt, they lost Chubb. Baker shouldn't be playing this Thursday, to tell you the God's honest truth. He should be given a break. Landry's hurt. Two of their offensive linemen are hurt. I think the Browns should just get everybody healthy and try to make a run over the last 8 games and just say, you know what, maybe these next 3 games plus like a bye week, we might get our ass kicked, but we could be still in the hunt if we stick together. But if you continue to be broken, and Baker right now is broken, he's playing on gas, tape, and heart. And I respect that, but something's got to give. The Raiders came together after the John Gruden firing and beat the Broncos 34-24. My Dallas Cowboys had to go to overtime to beat the Patriots 35-29. Dak Prescott is looking fantastic. CeeDee Lamb looks unstoppable. The running game was smooth, and there was a lot of mistakes made in that game, but the Cowboys prevailed, which is a good thing for all Cowboy fans. The Seahawks lost to the Steelers 23-20, but that was without Russell Wilson. And the Steelers are not impressive at all. And the Bills lost on Monday night, 34-31 to the Titans. Oh, Derrick Henry is a beast. Do I think that the Bills should have went for it on that 4th down and like a yard to go with Josh Allen? Sure, they should have. This is what this team does. He's a huge man. 9 out of 10 times, or say 99 out of 100 times, he's going to get that 1 yard, half a yard by just falling forward. It was a series of things that went wrong. His foot slipped from under, and I'm not making any excuses for another grown man. But you know what? The Titans earned the victory. They played hard. They played a hell of a lot harder than they did when they played the Jets 2 weeks ago and cost me a bunch of money in Vegas, I tell you that. So Thursday, we have the Denver Broncos going into Cleveland to play the Browns. It depends on who plays quarterback for Cleveland, but I think Cleveland can pull this game out, even though, you know what, they don't have a lot. I don't know who's going to be in the backfield. Chubb might be back. Baker might play through injury. I don't know. Washington is going to Green Bay. Green Bay wins. KC is going to Tennessee. I don't know. I cannot trust Tennessee to even put back-to-back games together. I think that the Chiefs are going to be on a bit of a headhunting mission, so I'm taking the Chiefs. Atlanta is going into Miami. I think Miami's given up, so I'm going to pick the Falcons. The Jets are going into New England. I think New England has turned the corner, so I'm going to take New England. Carolina is coming in to New York to play the Giants. I like Carolina in this game. Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow and Lamar Chase is going into Baltimore, to play the Ravens. I like the Ravens to further notice. The Eagles are traveling to Vegas to play the Raiders. I like the Raiders at home. And Detroit Lions are going to California to play the Rams. I definitely am taking the Rams. Houston Texans are going to Arizona to play the Cardinals. Unless the Cardinals get caught up in a trap game, the Cardinals should win this handily. Chicago is going into Tampa. Tampa's had some time off because they played Thursday, so they had the extra 2 days. I got to take the Bucks over Chicago. Indianapolis at San Francisco is the Sunday late game. I like San Francisco. The Saints are going into Seattle to play Seattle on Monday Night Football. I'm going with the Saints. Now, there are some bye teams this week. Buffalo's on the bye. Dallas is on the bye. Minnesota's on the bye. Pittsburgh, the Chargers, and Jacksonville Jaguars are all on the bye week. Now, once again, before I get out of here, just remember, people, your decisions lead to consequences. You know what these are. You can put any kind of example that you like. Never do any exercise, eat wrong, and become fat. That is an option. Treat your family and your friends like shit, end up lonely. That's an option. Treat people great with dignity and the pride and what they deserve, and you could end up with beautiful people around you. So it's no guarantee formula of what works. What it is you just have to make good decisions. You wish for the very best consequences of those decisions, but map it out. Take time to think through your situation. What am I doing? You know what? If you shoot heroin, the odds that you become a heroin addict are great. But if you never use drugs, your odds of being an addict are almost taken off the table because there is nothing entering your system that does not belong there. So just think about everything. You know what? Before you use that hand to smack a family member or a woman hitting her man and become an abuser, because these are the decisions that leads to those type of consequences. And now 911 is at your house and you could have avoided this. You have to think through. We have this beautiful computer. It's called the brain. It's in our heads, inside our skulls. And this thing works super fast. It works faster than any online speed. And all it takes is a moment to trigger. You put some data in there. If I do X, what is the determining factor of what will happen if I do X? And give it a chance to marinate and let that decision come out. And then if you need to run it through there 2 or 3 more times before you make your grand decision, do that. This way you have no surprises of what the outcome will be. Now I'm going to tell you, like I tell you each and every time, people, peace to you and peace to you.